together for years at Disney, and
We were 5 years old.
yeah. And I got them together, and I'm really proud of that.
That is gospel truth.
So, anyway, I'm not going to take any more time. He can tell you all the stuff he's done, like Carnegie Hall and blah, blah, blah. But really, this is the choir. They are very malleable. So, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Martin.
Wow, what an intro. Amy said I could take about an hour to talk about myself, and I love it. So, like, Monday night, it was Carnegie Hall. Wednesday night, St. Louis. Okay, well. I'm feeling a lot more relaxed tonight than I was the other night. It was a great concert. We had a good time. It's for President's Day, so we got to have some very festive music. And it sold out house. So it was good. It was all good. And today, a full day means I'm a blessed person. I get to do what I love every day. And so thank you for the invitation. And thank you for setting me up with Sue. That was a good thing. And a lot to do with you. And can you imagine what it's like for somebody to sit in an office and drop, well, I didn't use a computer, but imagine that I drop ink onto a page and to have it vibrated to life. It's amazing. I mean, if you think about it, most composers are dead. So in all honesty, I'm really not feeling that well. So I'm just blessed to be here and enjoy our time together. Well, let's just run it up and find folks if you want to lose them. That way I can.
They're gone?
Oh, no.
Oh, they're gone. Okay. So
Yeah, give me a roadmap on how you're doing it.
well, the soloists are doing all this, and really, what am I on here?
And you're coming here?
Choir comes in here.
Okay, cool.
What I want you to do is show them how to sing it without singing it PC.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, give you a little bit about my background. I grew up in the church. My father was a minister. My mother is an artist and a church pianist. So, you know, I've kind of been living at the intersection of ministry and artistry my whole life. And so I guess when I think of a subject or a moment in a worship season, scripture or something, I think of it almost like I'm writing a soundtrack to whatever that meaning behind the piece is. And so in the case of this, it's that bittersweet thing. Are you doing it for Ash Wednesday or for the beginning of May? That's where I intended it, and you know that's a hard service, and it's an important one. It's actually quite amazing to be that honest with yourself and who you are and who God is. And so because of that, the music had to have a certain bittersweetness in the quality of it. And I'm a big fan of film scores. That's how I, just baptized myself in film scores. So there's a little bit of that sad sort of love story feeling, if you grew up with some of those Nina Rota scores or Michel Legrand, big heroes of mine. And this is a bit of that kind of melody. So let's run through it. We should probably skip the solo and maybe just start at 10, just get us in the mood for it.
Dream and all of human labor.
So if I came over here, you wouldn't be shocked if I did. And I thought that was always such a sad little theme. You know? And here's the problem with that theme. You know that's from the Thomas Crown Affair. There's a word, I think Berman wrote the lyrics of the Bermans, and like, there's a word for every, you know the lyrics. They're incredible lyrics because they spun out like a carousel, you know, they just have this sort of Dolly-like feeling in their imagery. But again, the problem for a singer is that there is a syllable with every word. And if you're not careful, that will cause your music to have kind of a machine gun effect. And that is unrelenting throughout this piece. So what's a mother to do? Well, there's a thing called poetic scansion. And it's very, very important to create beautiful contours in the melody and for the clarification of lyrics. Because if we, in the church, we're a sacred art form. I mean, you know, and that means that we're word-centric. We have a message that goes along, so it's not one or the other, it's both at the same time, ministry and artistry. So as you go through this, paying attention to this scansion concept is going to help you be more expressive and more clarion as you share this important material, the text. Vapor, for instance, we lean into that a little bit. Life is like a vapor, a sweet and fading dream. Find the two-syllable words which have scansion on the downbeat, and those are places you can move to and then back away from. So instead of pop, 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 you have a little bit like a D ticket ride over at Disney. All right? not these, but the ones that are kind of more gentle and just flowing. So let's go back and let me just hear the ladies do that one time. And don't do it on the words. First of all, let's do it on a loo. But be looking at the words, and let's find that perfect rise and fall and contour for that melody. And then we'll add the words to it. Just altos and sopranos. 1 and 2 and 3, ah. So some of them are little 2 plus 2, and then there's a 4-note phrase after that, all right? Just it'd be so much more expressive. One more time, ladies, you almost got it. Ready, go. Here we go, guys. Same thing on loop. 3, 4. And it's really hard for you guys because you don't have these beautiful little melodies. You've got repeated notes, but you've got. If I could write it on a board, if I wrote it on this board, some of the notes would be that big, the next note would be slightly bigger, and then it would diminish. I wish they would make notation like that. Wouldn't that be awesome? If it got bigger as it got louder. I've actually experimented with that. I don't see it a lot. I'm trying to develop a system of notation that showed dynamics through size. Some of you computer guys can figure that one out. But when you have a repeated note, it's either diminishing or it's crescendo, one or the other. Never static. because it doesn't match the, and here's the cool thing about being a composer. I think it's cool. It's kind of nerdy now that I think about it, nothing was a bad idea. Is that when you hear a piece of music, right, you hear it in real time, and it impacts you, and it's wonderful and all that. But if you are a performer like yourselves, you spend time and you rehearse it. There's a lingering with the text and with the motions and the notes and all those things. You get that next layer. When you write, it's positively in slow motion. So you get to try and experiment and finally try to arrive at exactly what you think might be the most effective way of presenting this material. So you find out that repeated notes are just, they're kind of our enemy, and we need to make sure that those repeated notes are also following the intensity of the words, not just the scansion. This is a two-layer thing about poetry that I want you to know. Life is like a vapor. We're analyzing where the emphasis is, but look at vapor, sweet and fading dream. The words will always lead you to the truth of interpretation. What a fading dream. What does that say about how to feel that, guys? Sweet and fading dream? No. It's a spiritual thing. It feels like something, and feelings have sonic ramifications. So when you read something, sweet and fading dream, you have to feel that and respond. A dancer would dance it differently than if it said a strong and blowing wind, you see. So the character of the words will help you create this sweeping line that you're talking about. And all of human labor is a soon forgotten thing. What a kind of profound thought to consider, that we're just vapor. It's in the scriptures, you know. You're probably going to read that scripture. All right, let's put it with the words now. Same place. Life is like a vapor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Life is like a vapor, sweet and fading dream. Oh, man, yours. Yes. That is so good. Where were you at Carnegie Hall?
Didn't ask you.
Oh, I didn't. I was one I oversaw. Watch out for ing. Fading. You kind of closed off to the ng. No, I'm sorry, I'm not a singer, so I can't really show you. Dream, and just ruined everything you were trying to work with because it just closed off your sound. But did you feel the kind of the undulation of it a little better that time? One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 6. My life is like a vapor, sweet and fading dream. And all of human labor is a soon forgotten thing. Yet all these we share together, no one can sever. Oh, a song that lasts forever is born. Yeah, I didn't have to tell you that. Last forever is love. But don't go ever, but go ever is. There'll be enough people do it wrong, it'll come out just right. You know? R's and L's and M's and NG's and things like that destroy mine because it closes your mouth. All right? Now, that was so pretty. At measure 18 and 19, all of human labor is a almost a little sense of forward momentum. Another thing that cuts into our expressive potential is staticness in the tempo. If we only sing some forms, like if it's a song with drums and things like that, yeah, you got to be rhythmic. But in a ballad, you don't want it to be metronomic. You want it to have some give and take. And so when we get to all of human labor, see how much longer that phrase is? Let's feel just if they know you're doing it and you've done too much. But just that little sense of forward momentum and energy in that phrase. Hour is another one of those things. Look, when you say hour, what does my mouth do? It's just in slow motion. Hour. It does all this kind of stuff. Well, if you have a pitch that's going, I'm not changing this. You see how it does it? It just bends things. That's a word. I learned it when I get my doctorate. Just don't worry about the bend of that. If you were a soloist, I'd tell you to worry about it, but not when you're in a choir. Say ah. Ah. That's the word. Ready, 2, 3, and 4. The can is good, but the set is not. Let's do it on Lou. Ready, go. Well, you did it perfectly that time. Do it one more time, just like that on Lou. Ready, go. Yeah, not so. A little softer when you get to the top of the line. Ready, go. Yeah, forgive me, but could you pucker up a little bit more? Your Lou is a little bit You remember the Peanuts at the end of that Christmas thing when they go, Lou, 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 Lou. That's what we are. It's weird how we all know that. Really cathedral. Ready, go. This time I don't want you to sing the top 2 notes. I just want you to think about it. Just go. Ooh, ooh, ready. Good. Now let's go back. Now think about them a little bit with sound. Just don't touch them. Ready. You guys are awesome. That is fantastic. Now add just that much more sound and we will have it. Ready, go. Push a button and make a record. That's it. Now these pesky words got to go in there. All right? Here we go. Let's see what we do with the words. Ready? No one can stand. It's really good. That's a really nice sound. Every one of you have beautiful voices. And we just get into a habit of singing vertically. It's, you know what, it's a little bit of a church choir dilemma. Because we don't rehearse 3 times a week and all that, we're always trying to, we got to get the music up. You know, and so we don't take time to really smell the roses of this kind of phrasing. But you've got everything it takes. Within 13 seconds of hearing you guys singing, I'm going, oh, boy, some good voices in here. So most of everything that you can do to kick it up to that next notch has to do with understanding the music and riding the wave of all of these things that are happening in the music. And just, you know what, and that's the joy of it. That's the worship of practice, is the discovery. It's so important. Yeah, you can push a button on a tape recorder, but that's not the thing that we need to do. We need to be the song. We need to enjoy the message and let it just, like I said, when you compose it, just slows everything down. You linger with it. You're saturated with the message when you practice it with this kind of detail. There's an interesting thing the composer did here. If he was here, I'd ask him to. We go from 4-part writing, and we're talking about life is like a vapor, and it's very expressive, a sweet and fading dream, and all of human labor is assumed for God's thing. It's kind of down there with 4-part, very expressive. And then the composer takes all of that and says, but. And this is the message. And how do I shine that light? We were in, we travel in Europe a lot. We go on tours. You come with me on a tour. Come with me on a tour sometime. We go and sing in cathedrals and stuff. We were in Florence. And I went to the Uffizi Museum, which is part of our itinerary. We're all walking around. We see Venus on a half shell and all those famous things. And there was a whole room where they were walking through art history. And so all of these paintings were really one-dimensional at some point. They were beautiful, don't get me wrong. But of Madonna's holding children, they were very iconographic, kind of icons, you know. And very straight ahead, and the baby was here, and the cross or what have you. But it didn't have a lot of depth. And then we went into the next room, and something drastic had happened. It was called the School of Light. And somebody in the art world had discovered, this school was a movement in art, had figured out how to throw light into a canvas. Not real light, but you know how to, like, here's the manger, here's the stable animal and the trees and all that, and all of a sudden the manger is illuminated. So your eye goes, it's deep, you see. That School of Light was very, very important. It allowed an artist to control his looker. He could say, this is the point of my painting, because it's illuminated here with this gold paint, and it's feathered into the background in such a way that we're drawn into the corridor of the meaning that he wanted, or she wanted to present to us. Okay, composers have that same technique kind of. They can put texture in, and they can take texture out. And so in this case, peace we share together, the bond no one can, is the hopefulness. We get the real picture, we get reality with the four-part, but each time all of that disappears, it's a moment of reassurance and promise from, of course, the truth of Scripture. So, the peace we share together, the bond no one can sever, the song that lasts forever, and it's a triple rhyme, see? And it's in the middle of something called a melodic sequence. And so you want each of these guys, you're going to have to turn on your ears. Whatever they do, you have to match it. What's your dynamic level? You don't know. I'll say to you, I'll answer the question for you. You do not know what dynamic level is. The dynamic level is whatever they do. Because it's like, da, 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 you know, it's just one seamless thing. Okay, can we practice that a little bit? 1 and 2 and 3 and you see, and you know what? You were part of their song right there. You had to listen to them so that you could take the football and pass it on, you know? And that's it. You're in the moment with the whole song, not just your part, so that you can respond in that way. All right, so let's go and go to page 7. And let's go through this. And the fading glow of like the glory of God. 1 and 2 and 3. That's the top of 7. Oh, that's a solo. No wonder you're looking at that. Let's go, it's the same material, so I don't have to do that. So you got it. Let's go to the ending. This is the last one. And the song that